Okay, so we find you resting in bed after reading the manuscripts of the playwright and having discussions with Stella and finishing your meat and getting killed by a living armor.
Well, just how killed was I? I mean, my understanding
Well,
is I was mostly knocked
you were
unconscious, and
unconscious, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
You weren't killed, but
I was beaten the hell out of.
yes, you were. So you find yourself sleeping.
Right.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check at disadvantage because you're sleeping.
Here we are.
Okay. That's enough that you hear. You come out of sleep and you hear some voices downstairs. You cannot hear what they are saying.
Okay, well, I mean, it's interesting enough that there's any kind of conversation downstairs. So I'm gonna come over to the board in the floor that I had managed to loosen up and pull out, and I'm going to quietly peel that board out and see if I can't get a better ear on that conversation.
Go ahead and give me a investigation, I guess. There's
17.
a door between you, a staircase, two walls. The sound gets, the voices get louder, but they're still muffled. There's just a lot of wood between. Oh wait, you're looking there. Right, that's only one wall. Yeah. So you hear Stella say, "Okay, so there is a creature, a dragon, supposedly over by that mountain in the cave. I know where that is. Um, okay, cool. That's good to know." And then you hear another voice say, "Yeah, and the farmers, they're gonna like, I think they're gonna go after it. So I don't know if you want to go check it out first, but yeah. Anyway, that's what I heard.
Does that sound like a
Like a
familiar voice?
no, it sounds like someone you haven't met yet."
Okay.
Um, and Stella goes, "Okay, well, I will probably go check that out. Thank you again for the information. Um, if
What
you
time of day is
could,
it?
it is getting on towards dusk. The sun is just barely up."
Wow, I slept well.
Yeah. Stella's like, "Well, here's some gold for the stuff you've brought, and if you can bring some more feed, after the carnival, that'll be great. So cool, thank you. Have a safe trip home." And you hear the door shut.
All right. My fort still
Uh, yeah, it's still holding.
still
You
in the
you
wood.
haven't added any weight to it yet, so it's still in there. Yes.
No, just making sure that it's still where it is.
Yep.
Um,
You do hear footsteps. Well, yeah. Give me a perception check. Let's
at
see if
that,
you can figure out where they're going.
whether or not they're coming to me, I'm immediately putting the flat back. But I'll. Um, you said perception.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely footsteps. But like you said, you're covering it up. Go ahead and give me a stealth. We'll see how well you can put it back. Um,
It's as if it knows what I'm good at and it decides the things you're good at, no. No.
um, all right. So you think you've done a really good job. Um, what are you
Yeah,
going to do now?
maybe I put it in rather crooked or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
um, well, at this point, I'm much as I probably could have slept in my armor. I would not have slept in my armor because it is underneath it all actually armor. Um, and I don't also want it to get too grody before I get an opportunity to. Uh,
Yeah.
Man, I should have gotten some underwear when I was in town. Um, I'm gonna really have to kind of flesh out my whole clothing attire and start bringing up some water so that I just have like an ability to at least give myself a sponge bath, if not a real one. Um, I'm just gonna run over and like just start running my hand through my hair, trying to get it to look halfway decent, and then my armor would probably be hung over the chair here, and I just kind of try and hop in it because, so far as I understand, I wouldn't have all that much to wear underneath
Otherwise,
it.
okay. Um,
So,
you're starting to get dressed, and you hear a at your door. Um,
um, it'd be just a moment before I can make it so.
okay. I will. If, if you're up, that's good. That's mostly what I want to know. I'll be downstairs. Something exciting has come to my attention, so yeah, we can discuss that when you get down.
You don't happen to have a wider arrangement of clothing
Oh,
that
I'm
someone like me can
afraid
wear, do you?
not. Next time we go to town, we can get you
Uh-huh.
some casual clothes if that's what you
That's
need.
well, underclothing. I mean, this armor is great. Also, yeah, I'm just gonna need a few basic toiletries and so on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
if there is a bath part of this house too, like a bathroom. So
Oh, well, that would be good
I mean,
to
yeah, you might want to visit that eventually. We might have to get
identify
the
and
hot
use.
water maker to work, but we can.
The hot water maker.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of a like. Oh, that's right. It's just a fire with a fire pit with a big ass cast iron bucket there, and
A cauldron.
yeah,
Yes.
one of those.
Okay.
I don't use them.
Well, you're the lucky one that does not sweat. I unfortunately do, and after a time, I will become disgusting, and I'm already starting to feel that way. So, whatever exciting things we have planned for tonight, I'm hoping that I can at least maintain my briefest of obligations that I was hoping to uphold, and maybe we can stop in the town for uh, those supplies. Other than that, man, sounds interesting. Okay, I'm almost out.
Okay, I'll see
I'm.
you in a few. And you just yell that through the door, right?
Mhm.
All right, cool. All right, so you hear her Going back down the stairs.
Okay. Hmm. There isn't much I can do to prepare for what I know is coming. Hopefully the song in mind that came to mind overnight might help. I have a feeling that that may be able to create a new form of magic. And I start thinking about the song and the notes that came to mind overnight. And, yep, it's one of those arcane ones. It's got to be. I'll have to try it later on something unsuspecting. Pretty sure I know what this would do as I evaluate the notes in my head. Memorize that. Yeah. All right. Once I'm ready, as ready as I can be, then, well, let's go, Crystal Blade. And I'll grab the manuscript, put it in my satchel, and head out.
Right. There you go.
All right.
So you see the new map, right?
Yeah, I do, but I
Okay.
don't see much around me because my sword is not as lit as I would at this point have it be if.
Oh. Give me just a second. There you go.
Ah, there we are.
The castle doesn't need to be dark, right?
Exactly. Fair enough. And of course, I'm keeping an eye out as I go, just in case she summons some kind of beastie to suddenly attack me or something in the morning. I don't put it past her.
Right. You see her
Well, this room is new.
sitting in a. It was a redesign.
Yes.
My people were quick, you know. Hopefully, obviously, they didn't disturb you. You slept well.
Are your people quicklings?
No, no, they're halflings, but they work super fast.
I see. Halflings with
They're
full
like doublings,
skills.
but yeah. Um,
Yes, I slept very well.
well, that's good.
Surprisingly well.
Okay. So the stable boy from town, he brought a cart and two horses. There are some vegetables over there that he brought in for you. Um, there's some feed for the horses, only for a few days. That's all they had time to gather real quick, but they'll bring more after the carnival. Um, he also he brought two horses, one for me, one for you. Yours towed the carriage or cart, sorry. And he also brought me some news. Now I know that you're wanting to go help out the theater guy Ringgold. I know you wanted to go help him with his play, but and if you want to do that, that's fine. But the stable boy did tell me that there was potential sighting of a wormling over by the mountain that's a little ways from here. Um, there's a cave at the base of it. I think that the wormling would probably be hiding in there. It's unusual. If what he's saying is true, that'd be kind of odd for just a little wormling to be out there without a mother dragon. So I'm a little curious about this. I'm gonna go check it out. You're more than welcome to join me, or you can go play with the theater people. It's up to you.
Well, I'd rather it not be an either or proposition. Those theater people, they're not going to be awake all evening. You, on the other hand, would be. I would like to stop in and make an impression.
It's gonna take us a few hours to get there by horse. Um, and it's the wrong direction.
Well, the point is, I still need some things from town, and
Oh, he also told me that the farmers are a little bit riled up about this, and I kind of want to beat the farmers out there.
uh, what would you do if you found that there were a wormling? And more important, what if you found that it wasn't just a ling?
Well, I feel fairly capable in my capacity to deal with a larger dragon. Maybe not an adult, but a young one. I think I can handle. Um, outside of its lair. In its lair, maybe not. But
I, I'm pretty confident with my ability to run.
if it's a wormling, I would be interested in seeing if I don't know, maybe we can become friends with it. Help it out. It's always good. You can make friends with a greater creature than yourself while it's not greater than you. Call in favors later in life. It's a good deal.
I thought I was making that point last night about having a network.
Well, yeah, but you're shooting for untrustworthy creatures. I'm shooting for a dragon.
Um, you're counting a dragon among trustworthy creatures?
Well, depending on what kind it is, it might be. I mean, they're all trustworthy to a point, as
Do you
long as you
have
have
any
something to offer them.
suggestion as to what kind we're dealing with?
All I heard was that it was brown or bronze colored, tan colored. It was. That's all I got was just a color description. I don't really know what it is.
Um, well, again, dragon doesn't care about time. Human does. I would absolutely love to accompany you with that. At the same time, I'd like to make the point I wanted to make. And you're saying for some reason that we wouldn't be able to figure out a way to do both.
Well, if the townsfolk are going to go investigate it because they're worried about their critters, they get there first, then what do we do? It's easier to deal with it just us.
Well, we can always see if the other whatever. If you're in a rush, I can work with whatever. I serve at your behest anyway.
Well,
Um,
why
but
is it so important to go? The theater's not going anywhere either.
uh,
I understand the clothes thing. That I get. But the theater,
um, if he doesn't change course on a few items, he'll just be further dug in.
oh, from what I understand, he's been here a long time doing this. He's about as dug in as he's going to get.
My point being with this particular manuscript. Anyway,
Oh,
I mean, if this is not a one and done sort of affair for him, then
oh, no, he's been here quite a while. when you get the chance to talk to the theater nerds, you can learn more about him.
Your priorities supersede mine.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to come with me. I
Oh
can go check
no,
this out on my own. It's fine. You can go to town, play with the
I
theater
will,
guys,
and as I said, your
and then
priorities supersede mine. I am but your charge.
yes, but I'm giving you freedom right now. If you want to go work on the theater, that's
As
fine.
you say, I have
I
all
mean,
the time in the world to make an ass of myself in another way. I just had an idea as to how I could do it effectively. Uh, but we'll go this direction, and we'll see how this goes as well. If I don't end up dragon food,
well, if it's a wormling,
I but
you know,
start chomping down on a carrot.
if it's a young one, you might end up looking like that boar. But if it's a wormling, I think you'll be okay.
I'm thinking if there's a wormling, there's a parent.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about. Is there was no mention of an adult. There was only mention of the wormling.
Well,
So that's mostly what's piqued my curiosity because this may be a strange circumstance.
well, indeed. And I'm also surprised then that if you wish to do this in such rush, that you're bothering with horses and not a teleportation.
Oh, I don't have a teleportation circle where that dragon is.
I see. Your ability to teleport is to a fixed location, aka home.
Yes, I mean I have other circles I can go to, but I have to have a circle.
Ah,
So
well, now I've learned something about your limits.
yeah. Oh, and I can only do
Interesting.
it once a day. So that's
I
the other
thought you
limit.
said that was a 3 time a day kind of thing, but no,
No, once a day.
once. I see.
It
Okay,
took me a long time to figure out how to do it because it's not really in my wheelhouse.
fair enough. I
And
understand.
it taxes me to do it once, and
It sounds like what I've heard about some stone meld teleportation mechanisms that some priests develop.
hmm,
Um, yeah, no, I understand. All right, well, I'm down for a good ride in another direction. I suppose be bored going in the same. There's just you're saying there's no likelihood of a community in that direction either.
no, where we're heading off, no, there's no.
Total into the wild in the dark, eh?
Yes, yep,
Comforting.
about 20 miles, 25 miles. We should be able to do it. Couple hours.
Wow. Even on
On
horseback, that's a long ways. Hmm. Okay.
wait, is it? I thought horses could do like 12 miles an hour.
Horses are probably more like 5 overland, but if you're going per hour, it depends on version wars and everything like that.
Well, let me look it up real quick because I don't want to
And the
sound
reality
completely.
of things, unless you're actually like galloping, you're not going much faster than a hiker, which would be at about 3 miles an hour, and that's a fast hiker.
I'm trying to look it up real quick.
If you're riding hard, yeah, you could pretty easily get 25 miles in an evening, but that's whew.
Why is it so hard? to just figure out. Okay, yeah, 6 miles an hour.
Yeah, that sounds about right
Okay.
to me. Unless you're really driving them hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. At which point we'd have to make con saves for the horses. So.
Yep. And it's
Okay.
really challenging the horses. Yeah. Like big time.
So we're gonna retcon this and say that it's 15 miles away. So it'll take you 2.5 hours to get there by horse.
When you do your once a day return to base,
It has to be willing creatures. I don't know
okay.
if the horses would be willing.
Well, and the other thing I was curious about was how much you'd be able to carry as well. So if we happen to find a great deal of some kind of unsecured treasure hoard, and we were piling up on the horses, do you have weight limitations as to how much you can take with you, including the horses and whatever is on them?
There is a limitation. I can only take myself and 7 other creatures, or I can take one object.
Okay, but the items on those other willing creatures are not limited as far as going beyond what they can carry, at least.
I don't
If
think
they can
so.
carry it, you're good to go.
I've never actually tried to teleport a horse. I don't know if that's really capable of happening.
Well, we'll have time to find out as long as we eat all this on the way. To the saddlebags.
Okay.
And so I guess I envision a jockey's outfit and say,
Okay.
make it so.
All right. And you.
And it's just totally like white, yellow and blue and ridiculous.
Yes, and Stella. That is. Yeah.
What?
I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. If you're happy with
I
it.
know
Yeah.
I'm not small enough for this.
Yes. No, you're definitely not small enough for no. But okay. Anyway, let's go. And she leads you out of the. Are you gonna grab anything else?
Yeah, a little ham and just kind of like just stuff a satchel or something
Okay.
that I've got with with some provisions, and other than that, I mean, I think I've got pretty much everything I absolutely need. Um, that new spell of mine required something. I don't just want to. Okay, hold on.
Oh, a drop of blood.
Yeah, and I was thinking, well, okay, that's not going to be hard to collect a little bit of from where I cleaned the boar. I'm not sure exactly where that is in relation to all this now, but if I
Oh,
can grab a little cup or something that I can then maybe put a stopper on.
okay. Um, yeah,
um,
well, didn't you clean that up though?
Well, I mean, remember that the majority of it went down a grate, but I'm
True.
sure that that's not a perfect science, and I didn't. I'm
So
sure,
there.
like, it wasn't something that you really, in this day and age, even really think to care to try to, take water and make sure
Rinse
it's
it
all
down.
washed out,
Right. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. You
so
you
I'm
find
sure I
some.
can get enough residue from it that I'd be like, yeah, this will work.
Yeah.
And if
Okay. Yeah.
not, I'll cut myself for fun.
And Stella looks at you. Why are you gathering blood?
Oh, just I received an insight.
Oh. Okay, that's interesting. All right.
I'm sure you've had many over the course of your time being in touch with your divine essence.
Oh, he quit talking to me
You
after.
still, I'm sure, get
Mm,
flashes of insight to
nope,
suggest what you can do now.
nope. I
Are are you?
my my deity, when he granted me control over my hunger and made me capable of maintaining my goodness, my wholesomeness, part of the price for that was that he cut off communicating with me. So I have not progressed in my training in that regard since the day I was turned.
Well, you remember how your training was when you were going through
Oh,
it.
yes, yeah.
But are you to say that you're frozen in the ability to learn?
That's why my teleport was so difficult because I basically had to learn it from somebody else and force myself to do magic that was not familiar to me.
But are you now learning that magic?
No. Nope. I quit learning magic pretty much.
Do you get
I moved
better?
I moved on to physical prowess.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Do
Yes.
you still progress in this manner?
Not for a while, but I think I'm pretty formidable. So
I'm sure you are. I guess the point being that you can
I
progress.
think so, yes. If I was
Okay,
to fight an adult dragon on my own, I'm sure I'd learn something.
I see.
And
That's, I guess, kind of my question because I've heard of some that are cursed to be unable to expand their mind.
oh no, I'm not not that bad. No.
Ah, there was a notable story about a lick, but we'll talk about that another time. Um, oh, we've better get on the road, or this
Yes, we can
is,
talk about this while we're trotting along.
yes, I got what I needed to collect here.
All right, cool. Then let us depart. Um, she leads you out to where the horses are. She didn't bother stabling them. She does point out that to the
Are they unstable horses?
they are unstable horses at the moment. Yes, um, and yours is more neurotic than the other. Um,
He will enjoy being a part of my journey very quickly as I start playing a song to soothe his ass,
okay,
even if he's not an ass.
you can roll me a performance check. I want to see how well that works out.
Okay. Even animals respond to the universal language.
Or animal
Um,
handling, either one.
uh, Performance, I'm sure, is probably a little bit better for me than animal handling. Just a touch.
All right,
Either way,
your horse is no longer unstable.
no.
It's like he's been medicated his whole life now, and he is just calm as fuck. So,
I just teach it how to like respond to the tempo and the motions that I'm like, I'm just kind of as we go throughout the day, just
mhm.
or throughout the evening, I'm just kind of teaching it to respond to the music, if nothing else, but at the same time also giving him training him to further understand the commands that I give him with my legs. I mean, this is not weird for me as a noble equestrianism is one of those things that they tried to drill into me to the point of boredom, and I play around with animal minds like this at times just for fun. But since this is my horse, I'm going to spend the evening training him as we go.
Okay. You guys have set out. You are riding. Trying to remember the layout of the house. When you look,
Sounds like we're headed towards the north. Towards the
yes, it's
mountains.
north and a little bit west.
Okay.
Give me a perception check, real quick.
Are we riding through forest
It's
or
kind of grassland with interspersed trees.
okay? So kind of light.
Yes.
All right.
There's
So
not a lot
perception.
of light out right now because the moon is not up. All right. Yeah. You notice a bit of fog. That's about it.
Sure, that's making it a little bit harder for me to
The fog
trace a recollection and memory of this
the fog
trail.
goes away fairly quickly. As you move away from Stella's manor, and you guys are traveling. Is
It's
there
not
any?
lost on me, I say to Stella, that the fog prefers the manor. Is this something that was around the manor before you, or are
No,
you its reasoning?
it's an effect of me.
Is that something that you
I don't create it. I don't understand it entirely, but I set up an abode, and fog will eventually drift in. And I've gone to houses that I have left, and the fog is gone. So yeah, it's something that follows me. I don't know exactly what causes it or why. It's not like I'm so bloody cold that the air turns into fog around me. I don't know. It's just one of those things, and it seems to be common to vampires in general that if they are in a place for too long, it becomes foggy around them.
there's a bit of lore that supports that? Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I don't know how bad it will get, but I've never really seen it go further than like a mile out.
So it gets stronger the longer you live in a place.
No, it reaches a peak and stops.
So, would you say that if you're traveling along and you just kind of start entering into a place where there's a great deal of fog, and uh, you just kind of take note of that, and every now and then return and find that the fog is still there, there's a distinct possibility that you're in the realm of another vampire's um, domain.
Possibly, yes.
Well,
And I suppose you could try to ride across it, north, south, and east and west, and triangulate where the center is and find his abode, if you wanted to.
it must be a little stressful to know that there's an involuntary tell.
Well,
Does it only happen at night? Or is it
no,
always?
it lingers a little in the day.
It did seem
It's
to.
typical kind of to fog in that it will get burned off by the sun, but
Hmm. Okay,
yeah,
very interesting.
it is annoying, but
Yeah, it's like a giveaway.
yeah.
Vampire over here.
But if you don't cause trouble, people don't have a reason to look at you in that way, and then you don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah.
And when it becomes a big issue, you just find somewhere else to live.
How often do you do that?
Oh, I've gone through periods in my life where I've been in one place for a couple 100 years or 5 years.
Just
It
depends on
just
how
depends on,
comfortable things are.
yeah. Um, things had been kind of quiet, and that's why I had this manor. But then Markin started acting up, and I haven't been around here a whole bunch while I was following him and tracking him. Um, but yeah, now we're back here for a little bit.
What is this one of a number of places that you consider to be lairs that you can reside in?
Yes, yes, I have others that if I throw down a different rune, we can go to a different house. The problem with that is some of my houses I've been away from too long, and if the receiving rune, which I'm sure you noticed outside the garden, the rune on the ground that we ended up at every time.
Okay.
If you didn't, that's fine.
Apparently not.
Sometimes if that rune gets destroyed, the teleport doesn't work correctly, and you don't always end up where you planned on going. And sometimes it's very bad where you end up.
Hmm. Yeah, I can
I mean,
imagine a random teleport is no good.
yeah, fortunately for me, I have other modes of transportation besides just the humanoid form, so if I end up in the middle of the ocean, it's okay. I just turn into a mist and find my way back to land. Whatever. No big deal.
Works for you.
Yes, for you it'd be a little bit different tale. Could be a long swim. But
Yeah, fetch me a boat.
yes.
And my poor horse.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've never really tried to teleport a horse. I don't know if that will work or not.
Well, we'll probably find out. All these years, and you've never tried to teleport a horse.
Why would I? You can just buy a new one.
Well,
And
the more you train them, the better they are.
sometimes it's easier to travel without things that rely on you, like a horse.
I mean, they're not toilet paper, even for the wealthy.
They're not that
But then most of the time,
expensive.
you don't usually bother, right?
I mean, yeah, most of the time I don't bother. I can just walk or run.
Yeah.
I don't get tired like you
Or
do,
fly.
so bat form's not as fast as you would think it is.
So much more fun.
Kinda, but yeah, I just like to walk mostly. It's fine. All right, so you've been traveling for about 2 hours or so. Um,
No, he's,
you can
if
see the
nothing else,
mountain that you're
loving
heading.
the environment, I'm sure.
Yeah, the stars are out. It's pretty. There's no clouds in the sky. It's a very pleasant evening. Um,
I'm sure he's tripping at every shadow because, well, that's just how it goes when you're in the woods at night.
yeah. Um, Still, it rains up a little. Um, so, if I'm not mistaken, we should probably try to walk quietly now. So, let's just tether the horses here. And travel up to that mountain. And we should be quiet.
Should we also go without light?
Um, if we're
If we are
trying to
to
go
be,
stealthy, a light is pretty apparent.
if we are to be quiet, perhaps we
Yes.
should also be as unseen.
Yes. So just stay close to me.
Is the moon up enough that I can see my step if I turn
No, I
my book off enough?
believe. Well, yeah, I would
Did
say
say
that
it was
there's a little bit of
clear
moon out.
evening.
It's not
Okay.
quite to the quarter yet, but there is a little bit of moonlight. Yes.
Well, last evening you said we were 4 past waning, right?
Yeah, I might have been a little inaccurate with that. You were one. That's the full moon. So you're actually 8 days past full.
It would be
So you're
enough that
about a
I
half
am
moon.
not gonna like trip over
Yeah, it's about a half moon.
what's
You're good.
yeah. I mean, it's not great, but
You can see something before you trip on it.
before we start moving too far, I just say as I kind of let the blade hang down and I put it in a sash. Um, give my eyes a moment to try and adjust as much as I can to the absolute darkness,
It's not that
and
dark.
then I shouldn't be.
You're being dramatic.
I'm not an elf,
Maybe you should
nor are
have.
you.
Maybe you should have went and played with the theater people with all the drama. I told you could go. Anyway, if you could give me a stealth check.
You give me the opportunity to potentially see a dragon and think I'm not going to take it.
Oh God.
Okay, you need a stealth check. Now, why is stealth here coming up as a half when I'm sure it was one of the. Maybe it wasn't. Persuasion,
Nope, it wasn't.
performance, arcana, acrobatics, deception, and history.
Yeah, you had no proficiency in it before.
I thought I had it and I just divided it up. Alright, well, anyway, normal.
Well, you rolled better than Stella did. And that makes it so that you guys are definitely set out quietly. And as you're moving through the grass and the trees, sticking to the shadows as much as you can, you guys move fairly efficiently. You begin to see at the base of this mountain what looks like a darker portion of it, which you assume to be the cave that you are going towards. Give me one more stealth check.
She has an uncanny ability to find something simply by a vague description.
There's only one mountain with a cave, and he gave
She
her the name
knows
of the
this
mountain.
cave.
I just can't remember the name of the mountain.
What else? You said perception?
No, another stealth. You're good. Okay. You make it close. Let me pull up another map for you.
Just hoping this doesn't end up being the skin color of the dragon that we're talking about.
It's not to scale, it's just a visual. Okay. And I guess that would be pretty roughly close to what you would see, though. A dark opening and some foliage. Um, okay, so I think that this is the cave, if the stable hand was accurate in his description. What do you want to do?
I can barely see. So well, I don't wish to go wandering in somewhere.
Give me a perception check. You hear soft sniffling from inside the cave.
I'm going to say, oh, my legs, they're so tired. My feet are worn to the ground. My ankles are burning. I'm just going to sit here and
Hello? Who are you? What are you doing? What do you want? Hello? I heard you talking.
well, I hear you talking as well.
Yeah, who are you?
I'm someone who's a little fearful of anyone who might be talking in the middle of a forest up against the side of a mountain at this
Um,
time of the evening.
okay, why are you here?
That's exactly what I'm wondering about you.
I'm hiding.
You're hiding?
Yeah,
I'm just passing through.
I'm waiting for my mom. I don't know where
Um,
she is.
well, I don't know where she is either, and it's rather frightening to me to consider. Um, hmm. What's your name? I am Maximus.
Hi, Maximus. I'm Cassos.
Cassos. I am tired, Cassos.
Me
I don't know
too.
where you are, but
I'm in the cave. I mean, you could tell that from my voice, couldn't you?
well, I live in a world where things can be very much not what they seem, and I'm going to play a note and um, just a minute here. I'll minor illusion cantrip that note into into playing here and then playing off on the other side of the cave as well at the same time.
Okay.
And I say,
What was that?
"Oh, this is my music. I I simply wanted to point out that the world we live in can be a little distracting, and it's not always a representation of what is real. I must be concerned that I'm speaking to a child in the middle of nowhere, waiting for a mother who might be very, very angry I'm speaking to uh, her child. The last
I
children that I entertained, their parents weren't too impressed.
I don't
Do you
think
think
she's
your mother
coming
would be?
back. I think something bad happened. I I saw her fall out of the sky and she didn't get up when she hit the ground. And I can't remember how to get home. So I'm hiding here.
Well,
I'm
if you were
hoping that
hiding
she gets.
effectively, you wouldn't have spoken to me. But
Well,
you chose okay. I
I. If you had answered wrong, I would have just fought you.
would have just fought me.
Yeah,
There are many things in the world. There's always a bigger fish, my friend.
I'm sure, but you're sitting there whining about how sore you are, so I don't think you're very scary.
Well,
I
that
mean,
was part of the
big
idea.
big bad people, they're not gonna be bitching about their feet hurting.
Even bad people bitch
Well,
about their feet
maybe
hurting.
maybe they would. I don't know. Anyway,
But you're
I'm
right that
hoping I
I'm
can.
no threat.
Should I fucking not trust you? Should I?
Well, I don't think your mom would have been too impressed that you did, but it's okay that you
Oh,
do. Your
um,
instinct is
um.
good.
Well, maybe it's not. Maybe give me a dexterity saving throw. Hear the sound of something being released, and you step to the side, and a little rock flies by.
Whoa! Now, look, just because I'm telling you to be cautious doesn't mean that
Well,
you should be attacking the person telling
well,
you to be
well
cautious.
I'm confused now. What am I supposed to? You
Well,
tell
okay,
me that maybe my
listen.
mom wouldn't be impressed with you, and that I shouldn't be talking to you. Then you tell me I should be talking to you, and I shouldn't be trusting, and
You
then I
were right
should
the
be. And
first time. If
but
someone's going to attack you, they're not going to advise you to be cautious of them. I'm just saying this in some concern for your well being. I might have been anybody. That's all I'm saying. But you chose well to trust me.
you
I'm
can't
your
see me,
friend.
can you?
I might be able to figure out how to if I chose to, but no.
Okay, I have an advantage. That's
You
good.
probably do. Yes.
So
Did you like my music?
it was okay. How many of you are there though? Because I thought I heard it twice.
I do have a companion around here somewhere. She flitters about now and then.
I'm right beside you. Don't confuse the poor child.
But he couldn't see you.
I'm sure he can see me. He's probably got just as good a vision as I have.
Hmm. Well, I couldn't see you. It's the middle of the freaking night.
Well, like I
You know what? I'm
said.
going to go ahead and show you who I am, and I'm going to go ahead and light up my blade.
Alright, when you light up your blade, you can see deeper into the cavern.
How do I expand my...
Yeah, I think that's something I have to do for you.
Now, do you mind if I approach?
No, that's okay. I got more rocks,
I'll bet you do. I
so
bet you do. You don't have to throw them at me. I mean you no harm. How big is he?
it is a small wormling. It is bronze in color. Um, would that be history or an animal handling? Or we could let
Well,
Stella,
history would certainly give me quite a bit of information on any kind of dragon species, so I would
dragon
think
lore
that
that
I
you know. So yeah,
sure.
go ahead and
Um, got to use it somehow. Plus, I think that dragons would be highly offended if you called them an animal.
yeah. You know it's bronze. You know that makes it a metallic dragon.
Yeah,
Um, but
that's
that's
a
a
fundamental.
yeah. Um, You gather that it should be by the ocean and not necessarily here. It'd be happier at the ocean. Um,
Yeah, I wouldn't say I know a lot about bronze, but I do know the most fundamental thing about them, which is they're considered among the good ones.
yeah. Um, Stella speaks up. So Cassos, was it? Was your home by the ocean? Yeah, it was by the ocean, and Mom said she was gonna for go find something. She didn't want to tell me what it was. I think maybe she was just gonna go like maybe talk to my dad. I don't know. But she took off, and I climbed up the path, and I tried to follow her, and I was following on the ground while she was flying, and then I saw her just, I don't know, she like reared back and it hit the ground, and I ran up to her, and she had this like stake in her, and I poked her, and then I got scared, and I couldn't remember where I home was, so I started running, and I found this cave, and I was hoping Mom was gonna get up and come find me, but
How long has it been?
um 2 days.
Tell me more
I
about this stake.
it was a big wooden stake,
Right. Was it
like
tipped
a
with
tree.
metal or was it
I don't
just
know.
a
That was
sharpened?
inside my mom.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what the tip was like. I didn't pull it out of her. Maybe I should have.
No, maybe you shouldn't have. I think you did the right thing. You tried to get away and preserve yourself. Your mother would have wanted you to do that. Stella,
Yes.
should we not try to determine if the mother's alive? She could still be wounded.
I would think that if the mother was alive, we would have heard about a rampaging dragon looking for a child.
Yes, but at the same time, we should try to determine or ascertain what it was that killed her.
Well, it sounds like it was someone with a big ballista, which is
That's what it
odd
sounded
because
like to me, too, but
there's no
she said
towns near
might
here.
have been coming to find her father, and that may have involved a tree rather than a ballista bolt. So I
Well,
was wanting to see if we could find the mother.
we can try to take it back to the ocean and on the way see if the mother shows up. I'm sure that if we get him to the ocean, he can, or she, whichever it is, um, that it can survive on its own if we can just get it to its natural habitat. Does that make sense to you?
Well, what would also make sense to me is invoking a powerful ally if you could possibly do to it what you've been able to do for me. If we can find the mother and revive her, that could be a great deal of strength on our side for anything in the future. And I think this young one would benefit greatly from that.
Yes, that is true. It would be best for him to have his mother. How are we
And
gonna
you know
know?
how I feel. It's the
How are we
perfect
going to
curse.
find it?
Lead the way, young one. Where was it? Where did
Um,
you last see your mother?
I think that she was that way. And he
Do you
points in the
remember?
direction you came from.
Okay, so do you remember if you were running uphill or downhill
I
or
was running uphill.
across? You were running uphill.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's then start. considering. Stella,
Yes.
a dragon doesn't sit there and leave. Not one that would have had this one. No mark on the land if it's fallen. What if you were to go above and try to get a more wide angle view of the area as we try to
Well,
follow this one's
as a
memory as best as possible?
as a bat, I am blind as a bat. I only have echolocation. I don't know if that will reveal enough contour in
It
the
might
land for
not.
me to
It.
tell.
But what kind of sensation do you have as a cloud? And then also too, do you have the time enough to get enough altitude, shift, look around beneath you, and then shift again before you fall into an impact? Plus, we could also climb higher here to look further down into the valley to try and get an idea of where the foliage would have been interrupted by the mother.
So as a mist, I'm super slow.
Yeah, I figured that.
Um, and I'm limited to the vision I have in this form. So beyond 60 feet, I'm kind of like you, where it's just shapes. So
Okay,
I
so that
can.
then takes me to the next question of being able to go up, shift, look down, and how much time would you have in a free fall before you'd be able to shift again and be okay?
I mean, I can just go up and then change into a bat and come back down. I don't have
Or
to free
change
fall.
to a person so that you can see around as
Well,
you're in free fall, and before
I
striking the
can
ground, change back into a
see
bat.
as much as a mist as I can as a vampire. So I could shift into a mist and go up and see just as much.
Well, that was my initial question. I thought you said that that was limited, though.
It's just slow. But yes, I mean,
But you
it,
could get up there faster as a bat and then shift into the mist, look around as a cloud, basically.
sure, yes.
Yeah. If you do
And
that, then keeping
and
an
I
eye
can.
on this one, then I will try to follow this one as it tries to remember kind of where it ran from, so
Okay,
that that gives us a bit of a trajectory, and you could watch me and extrapolate perhaps out and be looking for any signs of a gigantic
okay.
corpse,
All right. I will
right?
I'll do that. Okay.
I just think it's important to try to at least
No,
find
I agree with you. That's
mom
fine.
and give
I'll go ahead and shift
some
into a bat
closure
and
here.
fly up the mountain.
Yeah. Okay.
So Stella becomes a bat and flies up the mountain. Um,
Okay. And I just beam out the light and I say, I hope that this doesn't disturb your eyes. Um, would you try to help us help you and try to retrace your steps so that we can find your mother?
I can try, yeah. I went that way.
Okay. Lead on.
All right. Cassos begins to lead you. Stella, you see this cloud of mist form on the side of the mountain.
Hmm.
Um, it's just hanging out. Um, as you follow Cassos, I'm gonna have him give a nature
I'm going to.
to actually survival probably
I'm
would be better.
actually going to play a invigorating tune to try and improve the results of any kind of mental checking this creature has to do.
Are you giving him bardic inspiration?
That's exactly what I'm giving him.
Okay.
Because I'm telling him just try to remember back as much as you can, and I'm playing a song to try and spark the memory.
That's a D4 right now, right?
I think so.
Nope, D6. All right.
And should I go to abilities or something, or okay?
Okay, so he got a 21 on that survival check to try to follow his prince, and he's doing pretty good at following the prince. And even you can see in this light that you have from the sword, which is casting out. I assume you have it on high mode.
Yeah.
So
total
you've got
high
30 feet of bright and another 30 feet of dim beyond that.
I don't want to be taken off guard by anything that might be out here to hunt it as well, because
okay,
yeah,
that's fair.
Not, I'm not thinking he's out of danger either.
Right. But as he's following, you're able to pick up his tracks as well, because he's doing such a good job of following where he had been coming from.
So he was himself rummaging, leaving quite a bit of scarring.
Yeah, he was not trying to be stealthy at all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so he's been here for what, 2 days? You said
2 days. Yes.
Okay.
It was this. It was this way. Let's just keep going. I'm trying to remember how far I walked after Mom fell. I think it was only like half an hour. So we should get there pretty soon if we can keep following my path.
Keep going.
All right.
I'm assuming that my light is making it very obvious to Stella where we are.
Yes, she can see that beacon of light.
She doesn't go too far.
Yeah.
Dive bombing range, perhaps.
Because yeah, even if you looked back at the mountain, you wouldn't see anything now because it's too far away. But you do hear a squeak up above you.
Oh, gotcha.
So you can assume that Stella is following you now in bat form again. Give me a perception check. Wow. Casso sees it first, unfortunately, and he's there. That's the javelin, the spear that went into her. I don't see her.
All right. Well, he's pointed it out.
Yep. And as you move forward, you do see a tree trunk that has been broken. The part that you can see, and it looks like it was just a tree that someone had like stripped the limbs off of in order to make it a little bit straighter and cleaner, like a crude javelin. You do not.
How big a tree are we talking about?
Oh, it's about 1.5 feet in diameter. Pretty good sized tree.
So
there's
we could be dealing with something like a hill giant.
There's like 15 feet of it laying on the ground,
but not likely an ogre or anything of that nature, unless they really launched this with something that was unusual.
Yeah, it probably would have been a creature with enough strength to use its brute strength, and not.
Okay. Look around very deeply at it, and like, are we seeing scratches, or what kind of tool work to kind of create this removal of the branches to make it a spear, and it's just sharpening side of it? Like what?
Give me an investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I should have just taken that as a thing for this character. All right.
Okay. It looks like they were ripped off close to the trunk. It doesn't look like they were sawed or hacked off with like a hatchet. It looks like something just like swiped up it and removed the limbs.
Potentially with like a club,
Maybe with a club, maybe with a
maybe
claw.
just
Yeah.
ripped off. Um, what about the sharpening?
You do not see the end that the portion that you see is not bloody. So it's
Is it shattered? Is the tip
yes,
gone?
yes.
All right, let's look around at the blood splatter and let's
You
kind of try
see a
and get an
very
idea.
large pool of blood inside of a small recession.
Uh huh.
Um,
Look around for
and give me another perception.
any signs of
Actually,
her
no. This is
body.
obvious enough. You could be. You don't need to. You see where it looks like this dragon had landed and was then drug off in a direction.
Have trees been knocked out of the way in the
Yes.
dragging, or
Yep.
huh? Yeah,
Yes, there
big
is a
ones,
wide
or
swath of land. Yeah, approximately the same size as the one that was broken out of the dragon. So they're like a foot to 2 foot in diameter that have been knocked over for about a 20-foot wide swath. Anything that got in the way just got pushed down.
there's
It,
no um. Well, before I actually ask any further, I ask. Sorry, Cassus.
Cassos.
Cassus.
Yep.
Yeah, I ask Cassus. I say, your kind can breathe and do damage. What
Yeah.
comes from your mouth when you wish to?
I have lightning. Here, let me show you.
No,
Yeah, it'll be
no,
cool.
no, 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 no,
And
no, no, no,
he
no.
looks at a tree, and a bolt of lightning shoots out of his mouth and hits the tree, and it explodes.
Okay.
See, that's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Also gave away our location for miles.
Oh, oh yeah, huh? Oh,
Yeah. Um.
oops.
At the same time,
Sorry.
okay, I'm gonna take a look at the base of the tree or anywhere along the tree to see if there's any kind of scarring to indicate a strike of a similar nature, perhaps more surgical, to maybe remove the tree. How was the base
You're talking about
removed?
the end that was furthest from the puncture?
Yes.
Okay.
How was
Um,
that removed from the ground, basically? I mean, am I looking at it's got the roots and everything? Is there any kind of scarring from potential electrical discharge?
there's
Is
no
there?
roots.
Hmm.
There is it's a jagged cut. And you've seen axemen cut down trees, and this does not look like an axe cut where it would be like a V shaped or one side is cut a little more than the other, but there's definitely not two triangles. It is one slash.
As in from a gigantic claw?
You
Or do I see some kind of tooth mark?
it looks like a big claw.
You said she was here to see your father.
Uh, yeah, I think that's where she was going. That's what she kind of said. I just wanted to see my dad.
Tell me what you know of him. And this.
Nothing, because I've never seen him. Mom said that he like came in, fertilized her egg, and then he left, and he's never been back.
I look closely at this one and the scales. There's nothing to indicate any possibility that it's of a half breed with some other kind of dragon, is there?
Based off of your previous history check, no.
But I have to admit that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, we have obviously a bigger problem than the mother.
Stella lands beside you.
She's who I was talking to,
Oh,
and she would know it.
yes. Um, I'm not sure what did this. I'm
I'm thinking it's another dragon.
kind of what I was thinking too. And for him to say that it was his dad,
Doesn't sound right either.
no. Because, I mean, let's have Stella do an investigation on him real quick. He looks to me like he would be all bronze. I don't see any indication of like a black dragon or a white dragon in him. So,
Cassus,
yeah.
yes, you were looking forward to meeting your father, but were
Uh
you
huh.
looking forward to meeting him here, like right here? Were
Oh,
you waiting for him specifically, or was
mom.
this just a stop along the way?
Uh, mom didn't know I was coming. So yeah, I was just following her. She said, "Hey, stay in the cave. I'm gonna go talk to your dad. I'll be back." And I was like, "No, I want to see my dad." So I ran up the cliffside, and then I tried to follow her as best as I could. Um, I don't know. Maybe she was meeting somebody else. I don't know.
Do you think she
But
was ambushed?
maybe. Are there that
I'm,
many
I'm not
dragons?
asking him.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's possible.
Yeah,
I
like maybe Dad was killed and
and then she was killed. Yeah.
uh huh.
Which means that him being here is probably not a good place for him to be.
It's obviously certainly dangerous for him.
Um,
But this doesn't look like it was just. And I'm looking at the weapon that was used on her.
it could be another dragon. It could be a very large dragon.
Could also be giants. You know what? Let's look around for other tracks because creatures of this size, they leave marks,
All right,
especially where she would have been dragged.
so you walk around to where she was
Yeah.
dragged. Go
Yeah.
ahead and
Also, Cassis,
yeah.
smell out, and I don't know if you have like really
Okay.
good nose. Maybe you
Uh,
can find something we can't even see.
me. Okay, I'll go give it a sniff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll go sniff it
because
out.
this is obviously the path to wherever they drug her, and I want to get an idea of what it was dragging her.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an investigation check. That 17 would have been better. But again, this is kind of obvious. You see giant clawed prints in the ground, leading what was being dragged behind it. You can see where the print goes in, there's dirt that's been pulled into that print, but the print is still deep enough that you can see the impression left in the ground.
Is there any way to get an idea of perhaps what might have been her print in the area and do a kind of a size comparison?
No, you do not see any of her prints. When she hit the ground like on her
I
side.
get it. Uh-huh. Okay.
And so she didn't leave any marks. And with that in mind, that maybe that is how the projectile got snapped off.
What I don't like, and I'm talking to her here. What I don't like is a dragon would have just ambushed. Cassis would have seen it. I'm not saying that it's probably not a dragon that threw this, but it's an unusual dragon that would choose a tree as a weapon over its more natural abilities.
Maybe he did something to the tree to make it more deadly.
You think there might be some kind of okay.
Give me another
Um,
perception check.
I was kind of thinking of whipping off a detect magic on the area ritualistically. Perception check.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad it wasn't that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see out in the forest a ways, quite a ways, like far enough where you just barely see this glimmer of light that appears to be approaching, but it's very far off. You're not in any like imminent danger of having been spotted yourself, except for the fact that you do have a big ass light that maybe someone else could see.
Turn it off.
If I was to give you a range, I would say it's still 3/4 of a mile to a mile away.
Okay.
I think that's within reason. Yeah.
I turn off the light and I say, we need to determine what that flicker of white that I just saw down the way was. And I point out
Well,
where.
they did say farmers were coming. It could be the people from town.
Did you say light?
Yes, light. Like
Oh,
firelight. Like torch light.
fair enough. How long does it take me if I was to ritually detect magic?
That 10 minutes? Yes, if you do it as a ritual, it's 10 minutes. And they're probably 20 minutes.
And our horses?
Well, you moved half an hour from the cave, but you left the horses half an hour away from the cave. So, in a triangle, let's say 40 minutes.
Yeah, but do I have to then intersect them if they're coming this way?
Um, give me a survival check. It looks like they are coming from a different direction than the way you guys brought your horses.
So
So it
I have the
looks
10 minutes, and we could get out of there. Okay.
so long as your perception is good
Mm-hmm.
and accurate, then yes, you would have the time. You're just gonna have a hard time moving stealthily enough, maybe, to get far enough away.
Pretty dark evening.
Yeah.
And lots to hide behind.
And
But what I don't want is for the dragon to be seen. So, how well, based on the terrain around, would the dragon be able to remain hidden? And I'll even ask him, like, how good are you at hiding?
well, I mean, nothing found me in the cave yet, so maybe I'm all right at it. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
And Stella looks at him and goes, some dragons they can shape change. Can you do that? Do you have that ability? Could you look like something besides yourself? Um, maybe. Let me,
Like a horse.
let me look at you. And he turns himself into a miniature version of you.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Yes.
An actual jockey.
Yes. Well, this is awkward. Now it looks like you have a son. But
Mini me.
the people looking for a dragon wouldn't necessarily find one right now. I still think
Yeah.
it good to avoid them,
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
but this
Guys,
might make things a little better. So, do what you're gonna do.
very silently start playing out the ritual. I'm starting to see.
Okay.
I just want to get an idea of if there's
So
any kind
you
of.
spend 10 minutes playing your violin as softly as you possibly can.
Uh huh.
Because intent is more important than actual action. And you do not detect any magic.
Okay.
There's no traces of any magical spells having been cast in this area or magical items having been used in this area.
Here's my biggest concern. If we follow this trail, this drag trail, two things. One, it's probably going to end as whatever it was grabbed her and took her off in flight. The other thing is we might find what took her down, and that's not something I think either of us really want to do, is it? You're not looking for
I
a
no,
big dragon hunt, are you?
not looking for that kind of scrap tonight. No.
No, I didn't think so. But it doesn't sound like something a bronze would do.
No, bronze dragons tend to be on the lawful good side of
Uh
things.
huh.
They, kind of
Yeah.
on the up and up. And if she was meeting Daddy, Daddy wouldn't have killed her. So
I don't like that because then that means that something out here
maybe she
knew the
wasn't,
meeting was coming and somehow summoned it and took advantage of her in the process.
or maybe she wasn't meeting Daddy. Maybe she was meeting someone else, and that was just an excuse she used.
Uh,
It's kind of a piss poor excuse to use for a child, but
yeah, right. That's not the kind of thing that you would think that
yeah.
they would lie about. But let's get the hell out of this area. Come on, Minnie.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna follow you. Oh, quiet. Okay, I will follow.
Yeah.
And you guys begin to move away stealthily.
Rapidly,
Um,
stealthily, but I mean, taking advantage of the darkness and the fact that Obviously, these lights are coming up. Are we hearing voices, things like that
Give me a
approaching as they start getting that
perception.
close?
Because whatever answer I give you, the same follows for them. Yeah, you don't hear anything. It's
Okay,
like they're still far enough away that you can't. And maybe they're moving stealthily, maybe not, but you don't hear anything from them. They still look like they're a fair distance off, so it just might be you're out of earshot.
okay. Um, well, we scramble back up the hill to. Um, not, I say we're not headed for the cave unless you've got something in there that you know about. That
No, I don't have anything in the cave, so yeah.
are you hungry? Did you manage to eat
I
anything
I,
in this?
I ate a rabbit earlier.
Is that enough?
I'm all right
Okay,
for now. Yeah.
all right. Um,
So you guys make your way back to the horses.
yeah.
We'll say that between you and Stella, you don't have an issue with finding the horses.
Okay.
Stella helps Cassos up onto her horse since she weighs less. And Cassos is still dense. You know, he changed his appearance, but he's still got all that mass. So
So the horse is like, what the fuck?
yeah, so it's better that he ride with Stella because she's much lighter than you are. Um, so I think I know of a place that we can take him. It probably isn't his home, but
Why would we not want to put him up for as long as possible?
because he should be put back in his natural environment. He's not a pet.
No, he's not. But he's also young and
He killed a rabbit
vulnerable.
earlier.
I'm not saying he can't hunt. He's probably one of the strongest creatures in the forest, even as he is. But
Well, let's
I don't.
ask. I mean, we could ask him.
Well, yeah, I mean, at your age, it would still be unusual to go without being too far from your parent, right?
Um, like mom would leave me for a couple of days at a time. You know, I
Days
just
at a time.
swim out of the cave and find some fishies, and I'd eat the fishies, and
Well, in which case he'd be able
yeah,
to he'd be able to watch out for himself. We
yeah,
wouldn't have all
yeah.
that much in terms of a burden, but I can't see how such an ally wouldn't be beneficial. And maybe we can continue to try to hunt down in the future his his mother's fate. And
Well, I don't know what the best thing to do is. If
would
it was
you
me, I would just take him back to the ocean.
would you want our companionship for now, or do you like your isolation and
It,
independence?
honestly, if I could have found my way home, I would have went home already. But one, I was kind of thinking mom might try to find me. Obviously that's not gonna happen now. Um,
Do you have brothers and sisters at home?
no, I'm an only child.
And when you say home, you're talking about the place you were spending with your mother?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was like you swam under the water, and then you swam into the rock, and then you came up out of the water, and it was a big cave. Mom had some gold in there, and some shiny stuff, and yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, Pretty safe, I think.
Well, Stella, what if we were to at least accompany this creature back to its home?
I'm okay with that if you're okay with that.
I am beyond
I
okay with that, and
I think he'll be okay. I mean, it sounds like he knows how to provide for himself. And if we can find his real home, then he'll have some treasure that he can
uh,
barter
right.
with.
I was thinking of a similar nature, but not to rate him so much. I am curious about the things of historical value that sometimes dragons come across, and uh, they find their way into their hoards.
I I wonder how old his mom was.
I wonder that as well, but
She might not have a lot if she's not very old.
we can get an idea of how old she was based on how much treasure she's been hoarding. Um, Also, too, I want to ensure that he's in no greater danger where he is at his home than he would have been here. I mean, isn't that the reason that we came here to begin with, is to make sure that
Yes, we did come here to make sure that he was safe,
exactly.
or to kill him if he was bad. But he's good, so we don't have to worry about the kill part. Um,
Yeah.
but yes, did you ever see other dragons in your home? No. I didn't see anyone else come to the cave. Mom didn't really talk about other dragons either.
And that is not to say that other dragons don't know where she lived, especially another father. There's another distinct possibility, and that is the father has somehow been mentally hijacked. And if that's the case, the one mentally hijacking the father would be just as after the gold that's in that cave is.
Yes, I know of a cave along the cliffs. It's gonna take us pretty much all day to get there. The rest of this evening to get there. Because we
Should we
are.
stop back in at our home and keep Minnie here for the day, and then tomorrow evening?
Well, if we can make it into. I mean, you want to check out his cave. If we make it to
Uh,
his cave tonight, this morning, and we can stay there and then return home in the evening.
you're comfortable outside of your lair?
Yeah, I'm fine. I camp
Or,
once in a while. It's good.
yeah, okay. I'm not against that.
Okay. Otherwise, yes, we could try to go back to the manor and then make our way to the ocean.
Well, just thinking of where we are in relationship to the ocean. Is it on the way or?
Um, Let me see if I have an actual map of Phandalin. Oh, I need your token.
Just take it. Take my token.
There you are. Now I can put you here. Okay. So there we are. So where you actually are is right about here.
I'm in the gray right now,
You shouldn't.
for what I can see.
Oh, let me. No,
I
it
am in
doesn't
the
have.
midst of Ravenloft.
Hmm. I am not sure why you cannot see because this map doesn't have lighting. You should be in the right place.
Well, I see the name Riverton.
Yes, that would be, yeah.
That's all I see is the name Riverton.
Okay, and where my cursor is right now, near that river, yep, right there.
Yeah, I don't see a river. As I said, I see a gray plain with the name Riverton in it.
Oh, those are mountains.
No, I don't see any mountains. I see a gray everything with the name Riverton over the top of it.
Really, there is no
I
map
see
there.
nothing but gray
All right, let me see if I can
and
find
the
it.
word Riverton.
Let me see if I can find you a different map.
uh, there's something out here.
Try
I think
zooming
it's
out.
still.
Scroll out.
Yeah, I can go all the way to the edge, and I can see Stella way at the edge over there, and I can
Well, that's
see.
weird. You can see the tokens, but you don't see any map. Okay, well, let's try.
There's the Sword Coast map.
I'll just drop you
That's the one
there.
you'd shown me before. So, okay,
You can see where you are now.
yeah, much better idea. Okay,
Okay. Um, so as I was saying, down about here would be where the house is. You're up about here right now. Stella's talking about going over to about here.
I see. It's interesting we have to cross that road. Um, I'd like to do that with the utmost of caution.
But doing it
And
at night
if
would be
that,
better because there'd be less chance of travelers.
yeah, well, that's absolutely true. If it took us as long as it's taken us to get there, well, we'll certainly be at about dawn by the time that we
Yeah,
get to the
we kind of
cave.
need to make a decision now if we're gonna go to the ocean, or
All
we can
right,
dawdle if we're gonna go back to the house.
we'll go ahead and go. We'll go
Okay.
ahead and go.
All right. We'll just leave this map up, and you begin heading off towards the ocean.
Okay.
Um, you reach as you come down into like a grassy plain area. You can see the road up ahead. Um, what would you like to do with the road?
Well, I mean, it's the middle of the night,
Yeah, give me a
and
perception check. You've
huh?
still got some moonlight. You can give me a perception check.
I mean, I'm just basically going off of the assumption that the large likelihood is if we're going to encounter anyone at the road, it's going to be because we see their lights. If we're keeping our lights off, which we are,
Right.
um, obviously there's the possibility that
Yeah.
there's motion to be seen at the road.
You don't see any lights. You don't see any moving shadows. It looks like there's
Okay.
nothing there.
So then we will scramble up and over it as fast as we can and get down into the valley beyond.
All right. Now you're in a grassy land. There's very few trees. It's just tall grasses. Um,
Yep. This is where I'm glad to have a horse because I'm sure that there's all kinds of little sinkholes and
yeah,
uh,
a great place for a horse to be, where there's all kinds of gopher holes and
I mean more like there could be like wet places that boots might sink into that I'd
right.
rather not have to deal with. Yeah.
Okay. But you guys are just like you're not running the horses. You're traveling at a
No.
casual pace. Okay.
No, we don't want to be rushing our ability to look around, and this is late enough at night at this point that if something's out there, it's potentially predatory. So
Yeah. And speaking of something being out there, go ahead and give me another perception check. Okay. Oh, I rolled that at you. Yeah. You see a bunch of shadows moving in the grasses.
how far out?
Um, Probably just outside of Stella and Cassus's dark vision. So let's say 200 feet.
Okay. And when you say moving around in the grasses, if it's about 200 feet out, what kind of size am I estimating and how many?
It looks like there are about a dozen of them, and they look to be orcish in size.
Well, that's specific. Um, I
If you had to take a guess, it's a big man or an orc. You know,
kind of trot up and grab the reins on the one next to me. And I say, Stella, you want to go see what the hell this orcish sized
well,
set of 12 shadows I'm seeing up ahead moving about are before we move in further for a potential parlay?
I guess the question is, do we want to try to just avoid them? Or do we want to just go in prepared to attack? Or do you really want to know what it is?
I'd rather know what they are
All right,
before we make that decision.
all
And
right.
I would think you would
It's
want to know what
gonna
they are.
take me a little bit, but give me just a moment.
Yeah.
She hops off the horse. She turns into a mist. She slowly floats towards them.
At which point, I'm going to have the other one and me get off of our horses
Okay.
and stand. I'm going to basically tie the horses together and maybe find a bit of a rock that can go over um, the reins. They're pretty good horses, so I'm just going to try and hope that ties them down somewhat. Because if we move or if they move towards us,
You want the horses to stay where they are.
yeah, if possible, yeah.
Okay.
If there's a stump or something, I'm tying them off to that.
Uh, Give me a investigation because you're actively looking for something to
Yeah.
attach them to. So that's a 10. You're able to find a log laying on the ground.
Okay.
And you're able to wrap the reins around that and kind of have
Well,
them held up on that. Um,
I turn to Cassis and I say, "You're the ace in the hole here, my friend. You know that lightning you did? Be
yeah,
ready. They're
okay.
not going to expect it from someone that looks like
Oh,
me, but
I
small."
think that when I go to use it, though, I'm gonna change back into my regular
I
form.
fully assume you would. You
But
can keep up with the horses when you're in fully personal form, right?
I what?
I mean, you can keep up with the horses
Oh,
when.
I could fly beside them.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. My point being is if we moved on with you in this form, it's not going to be a problem for you at all, right?
Oh no, no.
I didn't think so.
I can fly along at the same speed as they can run. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I want you to stay as unthreatening as possible, and let's go ahead and stay looking as silly as we are now, just to put
um.
whatever it is off its guard.
All right. That sounds good. I'll just sit here and look silly.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
what I do much of the time.
A mist floats back to you, and
And,
then
and these things moving around, what are they doing out there?
um,
Have they reacted as if they see us at all?
they're not getting louder and they're not moving closer. So
There's no
maybe
light associated with them.
no, you don't see any light.
Okay.
Let me double check one thing real quick. Yes, okay. So, yeah, Stella gets back and she says to you, so it's about a dozen orcs. They're sitting there eating something that I think maybe they found in the swamp. Um,
How do you feel about creatures of this nature?
well, they tend to be evil, but
Mhm.
I don't feel compelled to have to kill them.
Because
Uh,
they're not.
just they're, I mean, they're just, they are what they are. They don't make a choice to be shitheads. So, well, some of them do. We don't have to kill them. If you want to try to sneak around them, we can. I think that that's not going to work very well, but we can get a drop on them. Or you could try to
I
come
was
up with
just
something
thinking
else.
I might. Um, I might at least try something. I don't want them to know that you're with me. Standard operating procedure. If they get aggressive, then get in there, but don't go far away from me. In fact, if you want to just stay a bat and stay on my shoulder or something, that's how close I want you to be. All right, I'm gonna.
Um, if that's the case, it's an action for me to turn back into my normal form.
All right, well, just walk next to me then.
Oh, I thought you didn't. I can move. How about I just stay like 30 feet behind you? Because you want me to stay hidden, don't you?
Yeah, if you can stay hidden in the grass, yes, sure. Or maybe lead the horse. No, we'll leave the horses here if we can. All right. Yeah, about 30 feet behind me. Just try to be as.
Okay, I will stay about 30 feet behind you. And I mean, because that'll give me. I can get there right beside you. pretty quick and be able to attack things.
Try to position yourself so that. Well, hold on. I'll kind of let you arrange.
Yeah,
that.
it's more for just like make them all fit. All right, you guys get enough. They're kind of sitting in a circle.
That lightning you've got, try to make it so that it passes through as many of them as possible if they get aggressive.
Okay, so am I like walking beside you too then?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm staying beside you, not beside her.
Yes, my son,
Okay.
you are right beside me.
Okay, are you my dad?
In this case, yes.
Oh, okay.
Guess what? You found
That's-
your dad.
That's maybe that's why I look like you. Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
All
That's
right.
that's the story, and we're sticking to it.
Cool. Let's go, Dad.
Yeah. All right. So I walk up and I start playing when I'm about I don't know, when it starts to look like they might notice.
Are you
I
walking
just
quietly or
No, actually, at a
normally?
point, I'm going to walk totally normal. And when it starts to look like they notice, then I'm going to play, and I'm going to play the song of friendship.
That
Which
only
is
affects one creature, right?
a cantrip. Um,
That one creature of your choice that isn't hostile toward you.
yeah, there's something that gives me the ability to influence or fascinate them all, isn't there? Just in the basic bardic sense.
Casting
Whereas,
friends only lets you put it on one person.
yeah, but I mean, isn't it a bardic ability to fascinate? Or is that just something they've totally lost from 3.5?
Yeah, it's something they lost.
Great. Okay.
I mean, you still have the ability to perform and use that as part of your persuasion.
Okay. Okay. Which I will do.
Which one have you put friendship on?
I'm not putting friendship officially on any of them until I get an idea of who speaks for them.
Okay, so you haven't actually cast it yet then.
No, but I'm prepared to make it part of what I'm doing.
Okay.
The one that looks like the alpha that approaches that, I'm sure he's going to act like the one in charge.
All right. So you begin playing your music as you're walking
Mhm.
up. One of them turns and goes, hello. What is that ruckus?
Well, it's a song, and I was hoping that you might enjoy it.
Oh, it sounds awful.
Oh,
Really.
perhaps you prefer this, and I start going into something I think an orc would like. Very combat battle.
Okay. Uh, um, yes, that is a bit better. Yes. What brings you out this late and this far from civilized people?
I and my son are headed to the coast. We wanted to be there to frolic on the beach in the morning. I have a great love of aggressive, strong tribesmen such as yourself, and I've had a lot of good friends among your kind. I hope that, like those friends, I have nothing to fear from you either. And perhaps we can pass each other peacefully on this nice, crisp evening.
What's that outfit that you're wearing? It looks so tight. Is
And
that comfortable to walk in?
it's
It does
kind of
not look like something that would be comfortable to be out walking.
the
And
thing.
the sand, I have to imagine the sand is going to get in that, and it's chafing from that. Are you
That's the
quite
least of
certain
my
that you're going to the
concerns.
ocean?
It's the chafing of the sand is the least of my concerns. I seek to perform and amuse those that I meet, just as I do with the music. So it tends to, um, perhaps not among your people, but among others, make me a little bit more presentable. Um, Call me a comedian if you wish.
You do look a right bit silly. I'll give you that.
I
Uh,
agree. I agree.
yeah.
That's the point. That's the
Well,
point.
yeah. Well done on that point. It doesn't make you look very believable and like ferocious though. So, tell me, why shouldn't we attack you?
Well,
I mean, your music's okay, but your gold might be better. No, we don't need to attack him immediately. We could let him entertain us a little bit more before we entertain ourselves.
true. Which one does it look like they respond most to?
Um,
When I'm looking at all of them, which one are they looking to for guidance?
the guy who's
Sure.
talking to you.
Okay.
He is
So
the one who is the leader of this group. That's why he's taking the lead on
are
the
they all
conversation.
male?
Yes, it is a group of males.
So I'm going to play a strong hunting song
Okay.
and target the male that I'm looking at that looks like they all kind of look up to with um, with my spell, my friends.
Okay. If you target him, I don't think anything's gonna happen really. Other than I'll know that that's the one you're targeting. Okay. When the spell ends, the creature realizes that you used magic. All right. Um,
Now, and the spell can last
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay.
Yep.
So during that time, basically after he has been targeted, I then have to basically end and and just say, so might we pass through your territory unmolested and perhaps back you up at another time if you need our assistance?
Well, yes, of course. My friend, you may certainly pass through our camp and continue on your course. It was good to see you.
I welcome your friendship as well, which is why I've taken these measures rather than allow us to come to what would normally be. I mean, admittedly, I'm human. You're an orc. A conflict. There's no need for that between us, is there?
Oh no, there's no reason at all for us to be in conflict. I mean,
No,
we are friends after all.
of course, of course. All right. Well, if if you would, which way can we go around so as to disturb you the least? As I'm sure you're looking for quarry of some sort.
Oh well, actually, we were just going to bed down here this evening. We
Okay.
already caught some quarries. Would you like some alligator? It is of the most excellent quality. And he holds up a
So,
big chunk of alligator meat that he turns around and rips off of the beast and holds it out in front of you.
yes, actually, yes. Here, and I even I share some with my son, and I say I'm sure
Oh,
that
Dad, this is like this is really good alligator. I'm really stoked to have this. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mr. Orc.
I just eaten myself, so I pocket the meat, and I'm like, but my son tells me it's good. I believe him, and I will find out later myself. In fact, here's a trade, and I give them back a piece of pork
Oh, thank
from
you,
my
friend.
satchel.
This is very excellent. Thank you.
You're
I will
very
enjoy
welcome.
this. And he starts eating the pork.
And Joy, I just have to get my horses so that we can get around. Well met. What was your name?
Oh, I am informed.
What was that?
Informed is my name.
Informed.
Informed, yes. I know much.
Interesting. What do you know?
I know that the time on your friend spell is running out.
Ah, right. Well,
Um, and
cool.
as you turn and begin to walk away, you have burnt about a minute in conversation. And
Well,
he knows that
now,
friends.
hold on.
Okay.
When the spell ends, the creature will. Okay. I say, keep in mind, friend, had I chosen other magics, we would have already come to blows, and there are other magics to have chosen.
So you're not recasting it on him.
No, more I want to leave him with as positive an impression overall as I can from our interaction, so that he gets the full impression that the reason that this has been cast has been to avoid a conflict, but not out of fear, more out of concern for him.
On a 10 to 20, I'm going to say that he is pissed, but recognizes what you have said and will allow you to pass. 9 to 1, he's going to become pissed and everyone's going to attack you.
So what's that? Okay.
Okay. He goes, be that as it may, you have chose to manipulate me, and that is not a kindness that I can repay, despite whatever lofty goals you may have had in doing so. It was a valiant effort, but I am afraid that I cannot let this trespass against my mental faculties go.
Well, my friend, there are many more mental faculties to offend. And at that point, then I'm going to go ahead and
I'm putting
play
y'all in
a
initiative.
tune that blasts him with a Bane spell to start, and
Well,
perhaps many others.
we will see how that works when we go into initiative.
Okay.
Okay. You're not concentrating anymore. Right?
Well, that's the whole thing. So, yeah, all right, fair enough.
Do you want to try to run the combat tonight or call it here and we'll pick up?
We can call it.
Okay.
We'll start with another one. Yeah.
All right. Oh shoot. All right. Yeah, that'll work. So don't worry about rolling initiative. We'll take care of that next week.
Dogged Orc Cassus